are living in a dream world. That's what we're going to talk about today. The interpretation of dreams and DreamWorks. Not DreamWorks, the movie studio, but dream work in the literal sense of the work of dreams, the how and why behind the functioning of dreams in our everyday life, which bears significance on not only our sleeping life, but our waking life as well. So we have finished our foundational weeks in this course where we built up a conceptual and theoretical framework, first consisting of signifiers and signifieds in the context of meaning and representation culture. And then we made this framework even more robust and comprehensive last week by building on the additional considerations of meaning and representation in the context of discourse and power relations and identity formation and social field and cultural capital and habitus and disposition formation. And now with this framework for philosophizing and conceptualizing everyday life under our belts, it's time to apply it to analyze everyday experiences and begin our simulation of a typical day in everyday life. So from this week forward, every week's topic will pertain to a specific part of the day that you will typically encounter in your everyday lives. And what's the first thing we do to start every single day? We wake up. What happened last night? Ugh, it's so bright out. I need water. And what was that dream I had last night? It was so weird. Hamsters ruling the world and stealing my waffles? What was that about? So sometimes we tell our dreams to our friends and family, either to just humorously enjoy a ridiculously weird dream we had or try to derive some meaning for it by sharing it with others. Sometimes we dwell on our dreams for a bit after we wake up and maybe remember parts of it throughout the day and are reminded of it at a later point in the day, like, oh, that reminds me of what happened in the dream I had last night. Or maybe you don't think about it at all after you wake up and just disregard it as meaningless nonsense. But regardless of how we react to and treat the reception of our dreams, it doesn't change the fact that dreams are a form of communication. Not communication between people, not interpersonal communication, but intrapersonal communication. Communication that takes place within a person. It's a form of self-communication between different parts or layers of one's own being. So everyone dreams once they reach a certain stage of REM sleep. Even if you don't remember your dreams, even if you never remember having any dreams, it doesn't mean the dream work process isn't occurring deeper within your subconscious while you're in that sleep state and just don't consciously recall any part of it. So just because the communication may not be reaching its end destination of the receiver in this case, doesn't necessarily mean that the sender of dream communication, that is our unconscious, wasn't there to begin with, trying to communicate, attempting in the form of dreams during our sleep. So the source or the sender of this communication through dreams is the unconscious part of ourselves, the parts of us that lie below the level of conscious thought, which are repressed in our conscious waking thinking life. And the receiver of this communication is our conscious thinking selves, our daytime selves, the ones who operate in everyday waking life and remember all or more likely parts of the dream's content that was communicated to them the previous night. What we then choose to do or not do with that recollection of our dreams is ultimately up to us, but what we can do with it is largely what we'll be discussing in this lecture. So in this lecture, we'll be covering the dream team of 3 theorists who each proposed highly important and influential ways of looking at and thinking about the nature and the purpose of dreams. Firstly, we'll discuss Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, and his Freudian method of dream interpretation and his conceptualization of various dream work processes, as well as applying these concepts to a dream of Freud's own that he analyzes as if he were doctor and patient at the same time. And secondly, we'll discuss Calvin S. Hall's cognitive theory of dreams. We'll go over the method he used to formulate this theory and contrast it with perceptual theories of dreaming, and outline all the considerations that go into interpreting a dream and its dream content and the sources of said dream content from a cognitivist account of dreams. And then last but not least, we will talk about Fritz Perls, a later psychoanalyst who was a major figure in Gestalt therapy. We'll go over his Gestalt therapy approach and how dream analysis plays a significant role in identifying and addressing and hopefully potentially fixing personal issues. And we'll go over a few examples of dreams that he uses to demonstrate his points. We'll be going over dream examples throughout this lecture to analyze them from various perspectives and viewpoints. And then after the lecture content is fully delivered, I will go over all the information related to the weekly reflection writing assignments, which begin this week, that is week 4, including what each reflection is required to entail roughly in its various parts, and how to approach the reflection assignments and how they'll be graded. I'll show you a grading rubric that your TAs will be using. And I'll show you an example that I wrote myself of what a typical reflection may look like. And obviously there's a lot of leeway in how you go about writing these reflection assignments. I just want to give you an example to help put you in the right direction. So the first reflection is due Thursday, October 7th by midnight, and it will be based on one of these 3 readings on dreams, whichever you choose to focus on in your reflection. So, what are dreams? Are dreams just our way of processing the previous day's thoughts and activities and consolidating them from short-term memory into long-term memory? Is it as simple as that, just a biological process of our memory mechanisms, or is there something deeper to them? Are dreams manifestations of unresolved personal issues or worries or fears, either recently or more long-standing and on a recurring basis? Maybe dreams are just meaningless, garbled combinations of incoherent images with no function or purpose. A lot of people do dismiss their dreams as just random byproducts of subconscious processes and not something necessarily possessing any meaning or worth reflecting on any further than that. Or are dreams a series of signs with hidden meanings behind them? Is everything you perceive while in a dream a signifier of some sort with underlying meaning that your subconscious is trying to communicate with you or to you? Do dreams contain prophecies that predict the future or truths about the past? Is there some sort of objective or possibly universal truth to the things we perceive and experience in our dreams? Like, have dreams ever come true, so to speak, and borne themselves out in the material reality of your waking life? Or are dreams presentations of the inner workings of our subconscious minds? Are dreams just a continuation of everyday perception and cognition, just like a different version or form that our waking minds take when they're at rest? As if it's basically our brains still thinking in the form of dreams, but just like their sleep mode version of thinking so that it functions slightly differently? Or are dreams forms of wish fulfillment and ways to vicariously live out our desires and fantasies? Stuff that we can't do or want to do in our waking life. Our subconscious imagination may let us get away with it during our dreams and let us cathartically release some pent up energy that's built up over the course of our conscious living everyday life through this release valve of the fantasies within our dreams. Dreams could be more than one of these. It could be none of these. It could be a bit of all of these.